FM, the Health and Wealth Radio Network. Listen for A Touch of Gray, the talk show for adults, with Carol Marks and Michael Harrison, Saturdays at 1.
Everyone knows about kids who are bullied, but what about the bullies?
We grow up, only now it's hazing and cyberbullying. We're more likely to use drugs and alcohol and don't do as well in school. And after we graduate,
we get jobs, but we're going to have more traffic violations and criminal convictions. And since we're more likely to be abusive to our spouses, maybe we're teaching our kids to be just like us.
Early intervention helps us all, even the bullies.
This station is part of the Beasley Best Community of Caring. For more information on how to stop bullying, visit our website.
Stock market's at an all-time high. Lots of people making money, but are you the one who buys a stock, then it goes down? Then when you sell it, it goes back up? Thousands of people make that mistake. But now, thousands have learned what they've been doing wrong at Online Trading Academy. Online Trading Academy teaches the right way to buy stocks, options, futures, and Forex. Online Trading Academy's instructors are certified professional traders who are profitable. They show you what they do every day, how to pick the right stocks, how money is made in up, down, and sideways markets, how to time the market, and how to limit the risk. Over 200,000 students have learned to invest. Why not you? Call Online Trading Academy to attend a free half-day class to see how it works. At the free class, you'll also get the Wall Street Insiders Kit, packed with trading ideas, free. Call Online Trading Academy now. Seating is limited. 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800.
Talk here. Talk there. Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM, the Health and Wealth Radio Network. WNN.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. While recovering, you will receive 24-hour licensed nursing care along with dietary and nutrition services. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Do you have a hot new business or an established business that offers great and unique services or products that you want to get the word out? Are you looking to grow your business and you want everyone to hear the buzz about it? Do you have an amazing project or an idea that impacts our community that you want to share and get others involved in? Then you've come to the right place. You're listening to Community Connections with Norma G. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero, and I want to share our passions while connecting with our community. So now let's get ready to hear about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening on Community Connections with Norma G. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Welcome back to Community Connections. I am your host, Norma Guerrero, and you are listening to Community Connections with Norma G, and we are live streaming right now on Facebook. You can go to my page, and you can listen and watch the show either now or a little bit later. And you're also listening to us on 95.3 and 1470 AM at WNN. And we are so happy to have you here once again on Monday. It's November 20th, and it is the week before Thanksgiving. And we are very, very thankful for lots of things. And I have in the studio with me again, Paul Finkelstein. And so, Paul, welcome back to the show.
It's great to be here.
I'm so happy when you're in the show because you are a very dynamic guest and you have a lot of things going on. So we're going to play a couple different hats with you today. But first and foremost, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to you and to your wife, Sarah.
And thank you. This is the perfect gift to be right here.
Yeah, well, that's awesome because you know how much I love doing the show, and it's a perfect opportunity to share what people's specialties are and how they're helping others or how they're providing a service. And so I want to go ahead and introduce my lineup for today. And so first and foremost, I'm going to have Paul Finkelstein, and he's got a couple different hats. And we've had him here on the show a couple times talking about Toastmasters with his organization called CompetitiveCommunicators.com, which is an online Toastmaster club which is branches off from the traditional clubs that are where you go there and engage with the people, talking about leadership and speaking skills. And so we're going to talk about that very specifically on the third segment of the show. But I invited Paul to come back on the show so that we could talk about his other little side business, which is a very, very interesting business called Mobile Portrait Pros, which basically Paul has a large yellow bus, and he actually will go to you and take your photo, your executive headshots. And so he's going to talk about that business. And then at the 20-minute mark or so, we're going to bring his wife on, Sarah Finkelstein, and she is an independent insurance advisor with MyMedicareSupplementsForYou.com, and she wants to talk a little bit about retirement planning and income planning. And so that'll be very interesting. She's a Medicare specialist, and so she knows how to help people break down Medicare A, B, C, and D, when you age into 65. So she helps you walk through that. So they are what I call a power couple. They are very involved in the community, and so it's my pleasure to have you and your wife here today on the show. So thank you again, Paul.
And thank you.
And so we were first introduced to you through Whitehall Boca Raton, which is one of the sponsors of the show, a skilled nursing and rehab facility. And so that's how I originally got introduced to Sarah. And so how did you get involved with you're buying a bus and Mobile Portrait Pros?
That thought of when businesses are going mobile, probably in the mid-2000s.
Uh-huh.
I always knew that business people were extremely busy. And I thought, that is my perfect client. I have to find someone that just doesn't have the time. They want really a concierge. I should probably add that to the service. But the more important thing is that somebody is so busy that they don't have time to go anywhere.
Well, let's talk about first and foremost whether it's an issue of time constraint or not. What is the importance of an executive headshot?
Exactly. And the importance of that is how I came up with my tagline to put your best face forward. So many different types of business I heard have variations on that, but 10 years ago I said put your best face forward is what's so important.
Is
and
that right?
Professional image. As soon as you see that LinkedIn profile,
yes,
and you see I say it now, crappy photo, do you go and read the rest of it? I don't. I just bypass it right away. And that really makes a difference. And that's the first impression that somebody sees is your photo on a social media profile, especially LinkedIn. I mean, if it's a crappy photo, are you going to continue reading? Maybe you might be curious if they happen to catch one question at the very top, but more than likely, you're going to bypass and go to the next one.
You know, it's interesting because when I got involved in doing the show, so separating myself first and foremost, but just me, just all of a sudden, you know, week after week, I've been doing the show for a year and 2 months now, and week after week, 2 to 3 guests every week. And so how do I learn about the guests? Certainly I pick up the phone, I speak to them, and back in the day, you would just use the yellow pages. But these days, everything's so visual. And I go to people's Facebook page, I go to their website, I go to their personal Facebook page and their business page, as well as LinkedIn and perhaps maybe Instagram or Twitter. So there's so many ways to get to learn about somebody as far as what they're trying to express through their business or through their personal message or whatever it is. And when I go to do the promo for the show, I'm always trying to capture the headshot. And when all you have is a picture of you kind of being hugged by a family member or with a group of girls or the guys on the golf course, it's very grainy and it's very blurry a little bit once you kind of, you enlarge it. So I find it very difficult to do something with a client to promote for the show when they don't have that executive headshot.
Especially when somebody has that famous yearbook photo where they have a tree representing themselves.
A tree.
I mean, somebody just puts an object, their logo,
yes,
as their picture.
Yes. No, it's true, and it's very important that you have a face for your business. And so, how did you acquire your bus?
I literally went shopping around for buses. So that became, I mean, like you're shopping for anything in your house. Low bid, high bid, medium bid. Do I want to buy this bus, that bus? Do I want to get an RV? Mm-hmm. And 10 years ago, stumbled across one right here in South Florida and just signed that dotted line.
Yeah, and you just
and here I am in business.
Yeah, no, I think it's wonderful, and more as I come across people that I notice, I'm actually starting to share your number with them because I feel that they would benefit. Part of what I do here is I like to help people, help their businesses grow, and so sometimes I'll say to them, you really kind of need to get a headshot, and a lot of people are intimidated by it. And what are the costs? How do you sell your packages?
Well, I have hunch that was going to be the number one question because that's the first question we usually ask when we call a professional. And I'll start with $150 for 3 favorite images, and then we'll work up from there.
$150 for it sounds like $50 a shot, but these are high definition, high quality. And do you have different backgrounds in the bus?
I do have background selections, and what I don't have there, I could always customize with a retoucher.
Oh, you got to do a little photoshopping to it?
Me and a retoucher, because we have to justify our time, leverage our time. Because I don't want to, I don't have the time to be at my house in my editing studio for hours and hours and hours and hours.
Right. So now, Paul, I've had the opportunity to go on the bus and we took a few pictures, but it was a day that was not really a day to be taking executive headshots, but it was fun to kind of fool around in the bus. Taking pictures, let me clarify that, to taking pictures, and, but with the different angles, and you were able to kind of like give me some tips on how to lean forward. And so how did you acquire your photography skills?
Training is pretty important when it comes to professional photography. I did go to a university at Rochester Institute of Technology in a city where that little-known company where everybody says a Kodak moment.
Oh,
at
I've
Rochester,
heard
New
of
York,
them, I think.
At Rochester Institute of Technology, and they had a huge photography program. And they still have a huge photography program, but when I was there, they had hundreds of dark rooms when it was chemical processing, and now it's hundreds of computers with digital processing. And you wonder, do you save time if it's digital or chemical processing?
Do you?
No.
No?
The problem is that there's so many photographers that because it went to digital, they started to shoot more.
So now you have 500 pictures.
Or I should say, photograph more.
Sure. You end up with just more to have to go through, to filter through. That's why it takes 2 months to get your wedding pictures back or anything like that.
With that proper training, you could shoot less.
So what we did is a few weeks ago, Paul was here in the studio while I was on the air, and he took a bunch of pictures, and you sent me those pictures, and so now I have to edit through them because I want to put together a little video montage to go along with the logo during the show, and so that's coming soon, as they say, and then one day I'll have to get it over there in the bus. And now, in my experience with the show, I was
correction though, you don't have to go anywhere for the bus; it'll come right to you.
It will come to me. Oh well. That's pretty good service. We have to, clarify that that's what Mobile Portrait Pros is. How do we find the phone number and the website if someone wants to reach out to you, Paul?
866-443-0873. That's 866-443-0873.
And the website?
And the website is mobileportraitpros.com with an S, mobileportraitpros.com.
And what territory, what area here in South Florida do you...
I've actually gone as high as Daytona Beach and as low as Miami.
And are you solely doing executive headshots, or do you also do some photography?
I can dabble into other areas, but I focus mainly on the executive headshot.
Yeah, or anything kind of business related to the executive.
Business people tends to be my forte.
That's your forte. Interesting. I was at an event where they were taking, as part of the event, it was like a gift that they were taking executive headshots, and so I was able to capitalize on that to utilize the headshot that I currently use, and it's been a great shot. It's nice to have that picture, but every 6 months or every year or so, you kind of want to update it. It depends on what your business is.
Like you did with your outfit, right?
Yes, that's correct. And with the doctors, that kind of can stay a little bit steady every now and then. They want to refreshen it, every couple of years or something. But people that have a business that's kind of moving and a lot of ever changing, I notice they tend to change their headshots and just do like a revamping of their whole business.
I'm sure the model of their stethoscope or their white gowns might change if they want to keep up with their hairstyle and everything.
Yeah, that is true. That is really, really cool. And so, what do you find to be challenging about the job? A little bit, other than the editing.
Challenging would be to get my name out there faster. Right now, it's just me. I don't have a whole army of salespeople, but I'm doing the best I can to get to you, and you.
Or how about when somebody calls you up and says, what do I wear? Whether it's a male or female, what do you suggest to them?
I always tell them that it's best if you want your face to stand out, to not have too many busy patterns. A lot of the time, women especially, you have a wonderful top. It looks great when you're going out in the town. But for a headshot, it could be distracting from your face.
Yeah, no, I would not wear this for a headshot. It would be definitely a little...
The solid colors, even if you don't want to go too dark color, you could wear a pastel, but if it's solid. I tried to lean away from whites, but a pastel or a darker color like reds or browns, blacks.
Okay, well, I'll have to go through my wardrobe and figure out what we're going to do. And so...
Another good tip, too, is yourself, you would look good with less sleeves, but most of the population are not model material. So I would tell them that there's sleeves that maybe somebody might want to wear or some kind of cover-up.
Yeah.
Guys usually in a darker suit. And if they have cuffs, too, so if they want that to stand out. And a good tie, maybe something like what I have on now, or maybe something with a touch of red.
Well, that's good. Well, as you can see, Paul has the experience to guide you along, maybe bring a couple different types, maybe a couple different tops, that you can kind of, switch out to see what kind of complements you best, because sometimes it's hard to decide when you're in your closet in your own bedroom. But you will go to their place of business or home, if you will.
Now, another good question I just thought of, too, is do you ever go to a photographer and after you were done, you thought maybe those pictures were a little bit too stiff? And part of that issue is the famous yearbook photo where there's 2,000 kids at a high school and each kid gets about 6 seconds. It's not quite enough time to develop any rapport, and an important part, the photographer should talk with the subject for a little bit of time. And that talking and rapport building for at least a couple of minutes gives the subject a time to get comfortable in the studio instead of being stared down by a lens and a big box.
Right. So just so that way the picture comes across as a little more natural and candid.
And that will ease the no more stiff problems.
When you say high school picture, I remember I had a very inexpensive car when I was 17 years old, and I had to drive from Coral Springs to Plantation to this something studios in Sunrise Boulevard, and the car air conditioner broke.
Uh-oh.
And this is like May. It's hot, And you know what the mechanic told me? I go, what, my hair? It's not going to last from Coral Springs to Sunrise. It's terrible. He goes, think cool. I'll never forget that. I think I ended up having someone drive me. It was just I wanted to strangle the
and Uber didn't exist yet.
Uber didn't exist, and it was a little bit far for a drive from Coral Springs, but we worked it out. I did have much bigger hair back then. It was the 80s. That was the style back then.
Just trying to imagine
if you still have an 80s photo, then it's time to update and not even so much, you don't have to just be in business to have a professional picture done, because it doesn't have to be full-blown executive.
Dating headshots.
Well, so there you go. So Paul will walk you through the process. Tell us once again, Paul, how do we find you and how do people call you if they want to come check out your big yellow bus?
We might have our yellow bus downstairs at the studio, or 866-443-0873. That's 866-443-0873. Or you can call me directly at my cell at 561-302-0051.
And there you go. You have a picture. See, this is literally the bus that he has. It's like one of those transport buses. And I think it's an ingenious idea. I think it's a great idea. And we're going to continue to be, thank you for being partners with the show and wanting to come, and we're going to keep, reminding people that this is a great service that you're bringing people to their home to, if you will, save time. But the executive headshot can actually help you gain business. So I think that's an important point as well.
Good for the customer, good for me. Everybody's happy.
All right, excellent. We'll be right back in a few minutes with Sarah Finkelstein with My Medicare Supplements for You, and she's going to be talking about the importance of retirement and I believe it's retirement and retirement and income planning specifically. So looking forward to having her back on the show. We'll be right back with Community Connections.
Could you be winning by not losing? Do you know that there are safe money strategies that can benefit you when the market goes up, yet protect you when the market goes down? Hi, my name is Sarah Finkelstein with Signature Advisory Group. I'll show you how you can have safety and opportunity on the same dollar at the same time. You know, most people know where to find safety. That's bank CDs. And most people know where to find opportunity.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. While recovering, you will receive 24-hour licensed nursing care along with dietary and nutrition services. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G., and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show. So this way I'm relaxed. Welcome back to Community Connections. I am your host, once again, Norma Guerrero, and you're listening to us on Facebook Live on Community Connections with Norma G. You can watch the show there as well as listen to it later and watch it on replay. You are also listening to us on 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, as well as on the iHeart app at 1470 AM WNN. You can find us there as well. And so you can also find us, I didn't mention before, on AMP2 TV Productions on Periscope, as well as on YouTube as well. I always like to mention that I have a website that if you want to find out about how to be a guest on the show, you can go to ccnormag@gmail.com. You can email me at ccnormag@gmail.com, ccnormag@gmail.com, or ccnormag.com. So a lot of CC stands for Community Connections. So I want to go ahead and introduce our next guest. Her name is Sarah Finkelstein, and she has been, is that Stein or Steen?
Finkelstein.
Finkelstein. I am saying it correctly. And Sarah was on here. Wow, what a beautiful, you look beautiful in red.
Thank
That
you.
looks great. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
And yes, absolutely. And do you have a specialty dish that you do?
I do something, it's a side dish, basically. Spinach and mushroom squares.
Oh, spinach and mushroom squares.
I've made it many, many times. Everybody loves it.
All right. Well, good. I do the sweet potatoes.
Okay, great.
And so with the marshmallows and stuff, a little less marshmallows as we get older. The kids get the left side, the adults get the right side. So that's what we do. So good. Wonderful. Well, like I said, she was on the show once before representing My Medicare Supplements for you. I was introduced to you through Sergio Rodriguez over at Whitehall Boca Raton, which is one of our sponsors of the show, the skilled nursing and rehab facility that's located in West Boca on Palmetto and Powerline. And you can reach them at 561-392-3000. And they offer physical therapy, occupational, and skilled nursing. And you, as a Medicare specialist, you also when you engage with those folks, you also begin to speak about retirement planning and income planning, I imagine.
Absolutely. First, I want to say I'm so happy to be back on the show.
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity. I love sharing information with the audience.
Likewise. And so, we're going to be talking a little bit more as how we have continued to develop this show, regarding when your husband comes back on the third segment, talking about Toastmasters and how you introduced me to that. But we'll talk about that in the last minute. So in the meantime, what is it that when you meet people when they're 65, and you start to educate that, how does the conversation transition into that? People are more like, oh, what am I going to do? I have my personal insurance. Now I go into Medicare. And so once that gets resolved, now what are we talking about, this retirement and income planning?
Yes, absolutely, because baby boomers have a lot of important decisions to make. It's not just about what Medicare plan is best for me, but also when we retire, we need income to replace our paycheck. So we need guaranteed lifetime income so that we don't run out of money. Mm-hmm. Because Americans' number one fear is running out of money before running out of life. So at Toastmasters, most people show up because they're afraid of public speaking. And some people say that is everybody's greatest fear. But beyond that, deeper than that, is people are really afraid of running out of money.
Yes.
People are living longer than ever before. So it makes sense that we're afraid of running out of money, because in the 1960s, life expectancy, the turn of the 20th century, life expectancy was only 47. And in
47?
Yeah.
When?
1900.
Oh, then my life would be over today. My life would be over today then.
Yeah.
I just turned 47.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
But in 1960, there were only 4,000 people in the United States over the age of 100. And in the year 2000, there were 40,000 people over the age of 100. And it's projected by 2020, just a few years, that there will be about 300,000 people age 100 and older.
Yes, so those are the statistics. So, when, I understand that, we should start planning for our futures, when you get your first job out of college,
Exactly.
or whatever, the scenario is, always save, as much as you can. But if you're meeting someone at 65, these are people that may have prepared? So how are you?
Right. Exactly. Most people by 65 have definitely started preparing.
Mm-hmm.
But even those people that are retired, maybe they're in their 70s, they still need a little bit of help with their income planning.
And for example, like what?
Like guaranteed lifetime income strategies. Social Security provides guaranteed lifetime income. And an annuity, Social Security is really very much like an annuity. An annuity is when you give your money to an insurance company and they promise you X number of dollars every year for the rest of your life. So everybody needs to have guaranteed lifetime income. And in retirement, income is more important than anything else.
And so the Social Security may not be enough.
Correct.
And so that's where you would invest in an annuity?
Yes, that's one of the options.
What is an annuity exactly? Repeat it again?
An annuity is a contract between you and an insurance company where you hand them over a certain dollar amount and they promise you income for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So X number of dollars every year for as long as you live. So we know people are living longer than ever. We need to make sure that we don't run out of money before we run out of life.
And how much should people be saving for retirement?
Generally speaking, we should be putting aside 10% of our money, of our income. If you could do 15%, even better.
And now you're saying at what age are you speaking to?
Any age.
Any age.
Any age.
Any age.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So
a lot of people are delaying retirement.
Okay.
So some people will turn on their Medicare at age 65, but they'll delay collecting Social Security because where else can you get 8% on your money? So for every year that you delay collecting Social Security up to the age of 70, you get an extra 8%.
So your check will be bigger from 70 on than if you begin to start to take it at 65.
Correct. Or some people take it at 62, and that's even more reduced.
Even more reduced. Interesting.
Yeah.
And so are people still saving after 65?
Some do.
If they're still working?
Yeah, absolutely.
If they're still working?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And I gave a presentation last week where I talked about two different couples, the Hatfields and the McCoys. And this is very interesting.
Okay.
So they're both 65 at retirement, and they both have about $500,000 in their retirement portfolio. They both take out the same amount of money, 4% per year, adjusted for inflation. And they both have the same average return on their portfolio, which is 9%. And what happens is that the Hatfields end up running out of money at the age of 89, whereas the McCoys at the age of 95 still have well over $2.6 million. Now you say, how could that possibly be?
Mm-hmm.
They have the same age, the same amount of money, they're taking out the same amount, and they have the same average return. Well, we know that the market gives returns and the market takes. So the market goes up and the market goes down. But the difference is that the negative years, the Hatfields had the negative years in the beginning of their retirement. So they had those.
What do you mean by negative years?
The market has negative years.
Okay.
So there are losses. So they had their negative years in the beginning of their retirement, whereas the McCoys had their losses at the end of their retirement. And that makes a huge difference. So the underlying moral there is when we get ready to retire, we can't afford to lose our money.
Sure.
Because we could run out of money, and we don't want that. So,
but if it's in the market, how do you protect it?
You have to make sure that not all of your money is in the market where it could be subjected to losses. You have to take a piece of the pie and make sure that that is guaranteed and safe from market losses.
And that's why sometimes people get the annuities, because you can protect it in that respect.
Correct. And there's different types of annuities. A variable annuity is just like putting your money in the market where it goes up and it goes down. But the annuities that I work with and that clients want to be secure are fixed guaranteed annuities.
Well, because they don't want to, they can't deal with the risk.
They can't afford it.
They can't afford it, yeah.
Exactly. Because at 65 or 70, we just can't go back to work for another 40 years.
No. And my mother doesn't even want to cook this Thursday. You know what I mean? Let alone work. She goes, oh, no, I'm bringing fruit and vegetables.
That's
platters.
easy.
Get platters. She's like, I'm done with that. So
exactly.
You know, she's 76. And so, but she cooked for us for a very long time.
Right.
And, you know, you have to, you know, she has expressed those, and she has put her, I believe, her monies in some fixed things to secure herself for the future. So even though we'll take care of her, but, you know, she wanted to take care of herself. You know, it's also being responsible with your money.
Exactly.
I think that's a key point to money in general.
Well, the
is being
interesting
responsible
thing
with
is
it.
that when the market goes up, we all want to take advantage of it. We all want our money to grow. But when the market goes down, is when we change our mind and we want to have safety and guarantees. And it's really important. I wrote an article several years ago, which was in the Palm Beach Post, and it talked about the safe money formula. There is a formula based on your age as to how much of your money you should have in the market and how much you should have safe and guaranteed. And the older we get, the less money we can afford to have in the market subjected to losses.
Well, it's a very interesting statistic. The word that I don't hear that often, but used to be a way of how employers took care of their employees was through pensions.
Exactly.
And is that just does that still exist a lot? I know it does with firefighters, police officers. They get pensions
and they're
those
very
types
lucky
of things.
to have those
and,
pensions.
And government employees.
Right. Well, corporations used to have pension plans where they guaranteed a certain dollar amount for you every single year in your retirement. And that was very expensive for them, which is why a lot of companies replaced those defined benefit plans with 401k plans. And basically, the employee is on the line. The employee is taking the risk on those plans.
The employee is
on the 401k plan, the employee takes the risk. So depending upon the market performance of their 401k, it may do great, and it may have some not so great years.
Right. Well, then you can, you can put some of your money in the 401k and some of it not. But the benefits of what they say with the 401k is it is a tax deferral on your paycheck, and as well as what was the other thing?
I know I've been taught over the years that when you retire, you'll be in a lower tax bracket. That's what we were taught. You'll be in a lower tax bracket, so therefore you'll be paying, because the 401k money, all of your IRA money is tax deferred. So at some point you will be paying taxes on the whole pot. So we've been taught that it's going to, taxes are going to be lower, but that's not really, I don't believe so, because of our national deficit, because of cutbacks to entitlement programs. I think that taxes will be much, much higher than they are. So is it really wise to have a plan that keeps growing and growing and growing, where all of that money becomes taxable income in retirement?
And so what without getting too personal, what personal strategies are you using for yourself?
I use,
as an independent,
Certainly.
employee of your businesses.
I use life insurance, because life insurance the cash value in that policy grows, and I can access that money in retirement. That's going to be tax-free income. I also use annuities and Roth IRAs, because a Roth IRA, you're paying the taxes up front, the money grows, and then you don't pay any taxes when you take the money out.
And you're allowed to put X amount of dollars in that per year,
yes,
correct?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm familiar with that, versus the regular, the traditional IRA.
Yeah, when the traditional IRAs came out, I remember I was living in New York City. I mean, not living, working in New York City, living in New York. And at that time, when they first were offered, you could put $2,000 a year into the IRA.
It's up now, higher.
It's up.
I think it's like
$5,000.
I think so. And then there's if you're a certain age, you can put in.
Correct. If you're over
they call
the
it
age,
catch-up.
Catch-up provision.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Not the condiment, but
yes.
the catch up.
You can put extra money in, $1,000 extra per year.
Interesting.
For that.
So life insurance is for. When I think of life insurance, I'm thinking that in the event of your death,
exactly, that's what most
people
think.
That it goes to the spouse or children.
Right.
So how is life insurance for your retirement?
There's different types of life insurance. There's a temporary life insurance, which is good for a certain amount of time, 10 years, 20 years, maybe even 30 years. When that term is up, it's done. There's no more coverage. But the kind that I'm talking about is a permanent plan. So it does not expire. It lasts as long as you do. So we can put money into that. The cash value grows in there. And at some point, the longer we leave that money in there to grow, the greater the money is that we'll be able to access without having to pay taxes. So business owners like to do that.
Have life insurance.
Have life insurance.
Because it's their kind of version of their own 401.
It's kind of like their own pension plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that money grows and they can access it. And so they don't have to die for somebody to benefit from it. It also provides long-term care benefits if they need it, as well as a terminal illness benefits, and also the cash value, which can be used to supplement their retirement income. So,
interesting.
Years ago, it was interesting, years ago, the foundation of any financial plan included life insurance. And for the most part, we've gotten away from that. Most financial plans are primarily about investments. So we don't have that solid foundation anymore in the financial plans.
Most financial plans are primarily about investments. Investments in the market?
Yeah.
And so you help people navigate that as well?
I am not securities licensed.
Okay.
I gave up my securities license when the market crashed back in 2008, 2009. I decided that I wanted to focus strictly on safe, guaranteed vehicles, because everybody, regardless of age, whether you're 20 or you're 80, you need to have somebody that is guaranteed to be safe.
Yes. And I mentioned it last week when we were speaking with Michael Geringer, and he was talking about financial planning as well, that that when, these folks that I'm treating at the rehab facilities, that are 70, 80, and 90 years old, and they have major adjustments to their life. And this is when they're especially tapping into the decisions they made when they were 45, 55, 65, as far as how do I pay for a caregiver? How do I pay for 24-hour care, or maybe a facility if I have to transition to an assisted living or a skilled nursing facility? And so, this is a very important subject. And I love the fact that for everybody to understand A, B, C, and D with Medicare, it is complex for the first time you hear it. And then to even understand the variations within it between straight up Medicare or
original Medicare versus
HMO and PPOs and all those plans. And so a lot of acronyms and stuff like that. But when you have someone like Sarah who has the knowledge of Medicare, that's kind of done the homework for you a little bit and can help you make the decision that's best for you. How do we find you, Sarah, if someone wants to reach out to you?
My phone number is 561-302-5760. And you can also visit me online at www.mymedicaresupplements4you.com.
Excellent, excellent. So, Sarah, thanks to you once again.
Thank
as
you so
well
much.
as, again, as I mentioned, to your husband, who we're going to bring back on. And so just to transition into the next segment of the show, because I'm calling it the Finkelstein Hour. So is that, he has, your husband has, this background with the Mobile Portrait Pros, as well as, I believe, some sort of financial something that I guess that's another show we have to do, Paul. I'm not sure how active he is with that exactly in his business, but you have this. But you guys, call it a business or call it a hobby, a passion, an interest that the two of you are involved in this Toastmasters International, which is this. I'll go ahead and I think I wrote it down. Toastmasters International is a nonprofit educational organization that teaches public speaking and leadership skills throughout worldwide networks of clubs. And you are the one that introduced me to the club, and that's how I ended up getting introduced to Paul, your husband. And so I never really specifically asked you on the air, how did you get introduced to? Was it solely through your husband, or he did it first and you kind of said, well, if I want to spend any time with him, I got to go join this club? How did that all work out?
Actually, what happened was I was networking, and I met this gal, and we met for a cup of coffee, and she was a Toastmaster, and I was just very impressed as to how she kept the conversation going. And we started talking about Toastmasters, and I came home and I told Paul, I said, you know what? I think we need to join Toastmasters. And Paul and I have both been members of the club, our club, which is West Boca Toastmasters, for a little over 3 years. And I've got to tell you, it is just so wonderful to see people come in, and everybody's at a different stage. Everybody improves. Some people are so nervous that they're shaking.
Yes.
And other people are somewhat comfortable. But the bottom line is, regardless of what your starting point is, you will improve. No matter what, you will improve. And that is the beauty of it all.
And yeah, great. Thank you so much for sharing that story, because I, as I have followed a little bit of your guys' weekends, that you guys have done some stuff in Miami recently, and now, where were you this past weekend?
Palm Beach Gardens.
In Palm Beach Gardens. And so I'm going to have Paul come back on and share about this conference and this contest, this big event that happened over the weekend. And you see the professionals, you see the joy in their faces, that they're networking and connecting, but you're developing your interpersonal skills, socially, professionally, your salesmanship, you'll be able to sell and communicate your message of whatever business that you have. So I am a strong proponent of it, especially with this platform here as well. People have, maybe some of it is natural to me, which is why people have said you do well with the show because you're a good communicator. But certainly public speaking is a little bit of a different breed. But you guys break down the art of a speech, the art of a paragraph, and the art of delivery. And that's what people want to get across, and maybe the art of closing as well, which is important. So we'll be right back in a few minutes with Paul Finkelstein to talk about, pretty much pick up where we left off here with Sarah, about their amazing weekend that they had just now with Toastmasters.
You want to save time and not be in front of the computer, the dark room of the new photo generation. Let Mobile Portrait Pros come to you, offering business portraits, executive portraits, mobile headshots, actor headshots, and campaign headshots for political teams. Innovation at Mobile Portrait Pros serves Palm Beach County and beyond. Just call 866-443-0873. That's 866-443-0873. Headshots door to door.
Could you be winning by not losing? Do you know that there are safe money strategies that can benefit you when the market goes up, yet protect you when the market goes down? Hi, my name is Sarah Finkelstein. Do you know that there are safe money strategies that can show you how you can have safety and opportunity on the same dollar when the market goes down? Hi, my name is Sarah Finkelstein with Signature Advisory Group. I'll show you how you can have safety and opportunity on the same dollar at the same time. You know, most people know where to find safety. That's bank CDs. And most people know where to find opportunity. That's the stock market. But did you know that you can have both without putting your money at risk? I urge you to commit to your financial future. Make an appointment with me for a free consultation and get the life that you deserve.
Schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G., and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show. Welcome back to Community Connections. I'm so happy to be here once again. Oh, wait, I know you. Weren't you here just a few minutes ago with the Mobile Portrait Pros?
I'm back.
You're back. Excellent. And so I'm happy to bring you back on because you are a gentleman that has multiple hats, and as well as so do I. I'm an occupational therapist, as well as I have this radio show and an internet TV show. And
on Thursday, I'm going to have my pilgrim hat on.
Oh, that's right. And I'm going to have my baker's apron on as well. And, you know, being with family and sit on the couch and do nothing kind of day. So, Paul, I know that when you first came on about 2 months ago or so and talked about competitivecommunicators.com, which is a kind of like a branch of this Toastmasters International, which is an online club where sometimes people don't have the time to go to a club. You know, with all the advent of all of these various, what do you call them? The video conferencing?
Web conferencing.
Web conferencing. You were able to create this competitivecommunicators.com and tell me a little bit about Competitive Communicators.
Actually, it's going great. I just this week enrolled our 34th member since May.
And that's just locally in South Florida, or?
We have Hong Kong, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Washington State, Oregon, New York, New Jersey, back to Florida.
Within the 34 people?
New Zealand, Hong Kong, I said.
Wow.
Malaysia, Somalia.
And are you the leader of the pact?
I'm the president for the first term, and then looking forward to future leaders and letting the club grow and letting people learn leadership.
So now I know that in the clubs, people get up and they speak and they do their assignment. Is that what you do as well on the online, or of those 34 people, it'll be during one of the? How often are you guys connecting?
Every Tuesday,
guys and gals,
at 7:30 Eastern time.
So every Tuesday, and so is it? Do you assign someone where someone's going to do their speech?
All
for the day?
roles are prepared. At the end of the meeting, we start filling the roles within those next 24 to 48 hours for the next Tuesday. So it's kind of like preparing this radio show.
Yes.
Only a lot more people.
Yes. I'd have to have another hour or two or another day to have more people. So Fascinating. And so, like I said, when you were on a few months ago, I remember you talking about this a big event that you were going to be doing here in November. And so tell me about your weekend. What did you do this weekend?
Like going to any corporate conference, a lot of nonprofits have conferences, but with Toastmasters, at the moment, there's a fall conference and a spring conference for every district all over the world in 142 countries for 93 years. I don't know when they first started doing conferences, but I imagine they started from way back in the beginning. This conference was from 7 o'clock in the morning all the way to 11 o'clock at night, and actually started at 5 o'clock in the morning because the hotel had a fire drill. So I got to see Toastmasters in their pajamas. I mean, talk about, you're used to seeing somebody in a suit, and then you see them with their different hairstyle at 5 o'clock in the morning before they shower.
But what was the purpose of the event? And was there a keynote?
The main thing was thanks for keeping me on track
there. That's all right.
Is
the sight of you in your pajamas, I had to get back to the...
It was so exciting,
I had to get it back to what we were talking about.
There's two major contests, an evaluation contest and a humorous contest. We had 7 contestants for the evaluation contest and 7 contestants for the humorous contest. They always do the humorous contest last. It always is a nice recharge to get some humor and make people laugh and have a good time. But it's still a contest, and there's big trophies, huge. The trophies were like this big. Mm-hmm. Then the evaluation contest, to give you a little bit of background, in a Toastmaster meeting, there's a role as an evaluator for every speaker. And it starts at the club level and goes up to the area level, division level, and at our district conference is the best of the best within our entire district, from Bahamas, Key West, all the way up to Treasure Coast and back again. All Southeast Florida is District 47. So those 7 contestants were the best of the best in 3,000 Toastmasters, over 3,000 Toastmasters in the area. And we gathered upwards of close to 200 people at the Doubletree in Palm Beach Gardens.
Wow,
and
big event.
We had a first place, second place, third place winner for the evaluation and the humorous speeches. We also had a keynote speaker that we got a chance to be in the same room as a world champion speaker. And Toastmasters all over the world, they had this the annual convention in Vancouver just recently in August. Before that, it was in Malaysia one of the years, and I can't remember the other cities. But it's all they have it different places. I think Chicago is the next place next August.
So what was your role? Were you just attending the event, or did you have a certain role or responsibility at this event this weekend?
I was actually assigned for one of the functionary roles as Sergeant at Arms, which is just to guard the door during the contest so that when the speakers are speaking, nobody can leave the room until that 1 minute of silence when the judges are judging the speaker.
So you were a bouncer?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, Sergeant at Arms. I do like that too. Though it's very important.
Sounds
too.
official.
But it's important that when someone's speaking, that someone doesn't just barge in and slam the door. You need to control to be respectful of the speaker.
It is very important.
It is, of course, it is. So is a bouncer.
Do you want to hear my 3 takeaways?
Well, that was going to be my next question. With this weekend, what did you learn from participating in this event this weekend?
I gathered up more than 3 takeaways, but here's 3 of them that are pretty exciting. The keynote speaker was Darren LaCroix, and he was one of the world champion speaker one of the years going back. And one thing I got from him is that if you have a quote and you want to say that in your radio show or somewhere else, and you quote somebody else, he says, try not to quote somebody else in your speech or your dialogue. If you have to do it, sing it. I think he was joking as an aside when he said it, but basically he was alluding to the try not to quote somebody else. So I have this quote that I love. If it's to be, it's up to me. And I learned it at a Dale Carnegie class, but in one of his books, I think it said exactly who said it. So I imagine I would go, if it's to be, it's up to me. That was one take. It was interesting is to sing something as a quote from somebody else rather than to say it so you don't come across as that other person, even though you probably will quote where the source is.
So that's your first takeaway.
Another takeaway quote is that Darren actually did say was to use one premise or one theme in your talk. So if you have a 7-minute speech, a lot of newer Toastmasters and veteran Toastmasters I might have a habit of that, is to, for 7 minutes, go off on a little too many tangents, but not necessarily the tangent. You could do several points, but keep to the same theme or premise.
Sure.
So imagine this premise would be takeaways, and come across and use little examples with that. The last one was interesting, is something I've been doing, which is people always wonder, how do I come up with a speech? They don't know how to come up with a speech idea. And so we said right away, just develop a book of speeches or stories that happened in your life, because somebody will benefit from any story in your entire life. And you probably have a dozen, hundreds of them from when you were this little on up to now, and then you continue doing stories. But on top of that, at the same time as making a list of stories and creating a Word document for that, create a picture file, and not necessarily clip art. They said try to stay away from clip art, which could be a whole nother topic. Is you take a picture of something in your house, apartment. You know, he used an example. He took a picture of some videotapes.
So while you're speaking, show the picture? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that could be a prop as well. That's a whole other topic, is when you get into doing PowerPoint, that you could do 20, 30 slides in a PowerPoint, and that PowerPoint can take over your speech. Instead, this was another cool takeaway. There's a button on the remote control for PowerPoints, and it's like a blank button or something. You click that blank button, and the PowerPoint goes off. So it's okay when you make a point, put up your slides, but then hit that button, and then it goes blank on the screen. And then now the attention is on you and not the screen.
Oh, okay.
So how effective would it be to, even if you have slides, don't keep the projector on for the whole time. Turn it off when you want to tell a story based on something, then bring it back up and use the slides as a prop instead of the presentation.
So those are some practical tips. And what would you say interpersonally over these last few years that you've been involved with Toastmasters? How long has it been?
4 years.
4 years. Well, how interpersonally has it changed you?
It's a positive, friendly environment. It's always uplifting to go to a conference. And Toastmasters is probably one of those positive environments and organizations you could be a part of. And all at the clubs, you go frequently. And the mantra that I love is that public speaking is a muscle. You use it or you lose it. And if you go to the gym once for the week, that's not really enough.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine asking someone to join 4 Toastmaster clubs and go. But practice in between that one time you go every week.
And competitivecommunicators.com, that's pretty obvious of how we find it, is competitivecommunicators.com. And tell us again your number of how we can find you if someone wants to
you can always
find out
call me
about
at my cell at 561-302-0051 or 0051, like 007.
And you also go to a local club, West Boca.
West Boca Toastmasters is at Olympic Heights High School on Lyons Road, just north of Glades in West Boca.
And you meet how often and when?
Every Wednesday at 7:15.
Okay, excellent. Well, there you go. As you can see, this really isn't about Paul. If you listen to those words that he just expressed, those are all things that we could all potentially grow and develop up and then apply them to our own lives. And so thank you so much for sharing that. It is very, very inspiring. So thank you and your wife and for coming on the show and sharing with us about the Finkelstein, what's the word I want to use? Empire. So we will have them back on again sometime maybe after the new year or maybe with one of the guests for Toastmasters with Paul. Thank you, Whitehall Boca Raton, once again for giving us the opportunity, as well as My Medicare Supplements for You and Mobile Portrait Pros for coming on board and joining the show and continuing to bring, as we do each week, a variety of guests to help inspire, educate, and share what's going on in the community. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving, Sarah and Paul. And we'll see you next week with a whole new lineup of guests. Have a great week, everyone. You've been listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We will be back next Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. with new guests to share about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Did you hear something you liked today on our show? Please contact me, Norma G, at 954-802-2015 or email me at ccnormag@gmail.com. I look forward to helping you expand your business, project, or idea and connect with our community.